Gary Gensler had a secret lunch in Japan with CZ, and Louis Vuitton just dropped a $40,000 NFT. Are you going to mint it? This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining, everybody. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button because we have some fantastic guests on this show. I don't think we've ever had this lineup and this combination before. It's a very special day, so please hit that thumbs up. First, on the top left, we have Crypto Lifer. Crypto Lifer, how's it feeling today? You got the nice button up. Are you ready to talk about some Binance and Gary?
Little chest hair over here. How's everything going, everybody? How you doing?
Negative 1 point. Always a good time. Also on today, we have Cowboys of Crypto. And Cowboy, are you ready to wrestle up some hot opinions?
I got a bag full of Bitcoin and I'm grinning like a possum eating a sweet tater.
All right. It's better than my bag of alts, probably. All right. Also on today, we have Dusty BC. Dusty, we had some internet issues, but I think we got everything going. How's it looking on your end?
I hope it's going to be fine. That's all I can say. It just happened 10 minutes ago, so let's see.
Well, like Tinkerbell, if we really want it to work, we need the audience to hit the thumbs up. So hopefully they're doing that now. It's going to make your internet connection just that much better. And last but not least, we have Interpret Crypto. Interpret Crypto, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you very much for having me. Can't wait to see what we talk about today.
All right. Well, let's lead into Gary meeting with CZ. That's right. Gary Gensler just did a little tweet thread on him. So it's fresh in mind. But, we started at MIT. After that, he went back into the public sector after leaving the public sector. Before, of course, he came from Goldman Sachs. Well, I was teaching at MIT around 2019. He reached out to Binance, CZ, and their key executives to reach out and join their company as an advisor. They had several meetings virtually, and it went as far as Gary flying all the way to Japan and having lunch with CZ. A couple of takeaways. Ever since then, now Binance on the offense. And then also, we have Gary Gensler on the offense. So we went from teaching at MIT, pushing Algorand, some would even say, trying to become an advisor at Binance, and then later served as head of the SEC. And now he is tackling and targeting all these crypto companies. In a statement to CNBC, this is the SEC's response. The chair is very familiar with and in full compliance with his ethical obligations, including any recusal obligations. This is after the fact, after the meeting. Binance is saying there is a clear conflict of interest here. He wanted to work here. We said no. Now, like a jealous lover, he's coming back. Cowboys of Crypto, is that a fair assessment? Am I making it too personal here? Do you think there's any animosity on Gary's end after being rejected by ZZ?
Listen, I think the story is wider than we think. Okay, this man, I think he genuinely loved crypto. He was a nerd. He's a dweeb. He's king nerd, teaching at MIT to little baby nerds, teaching them how to be big nerds. And then so this nerd goes off and he tries to find the hot girl, and he has lunch with the hot girl, and he dates the hot girl, and guess what? The hot girl broke his heart. That's what happened. That's the story. And what I think this proves is that this is a man who has no spine. Okay, this is the man who changes his tune based on his paycheck, changes his tune based on who employs him. He has no spine. He does what the job requires of him. He does what his handler tells him to do. He's a company man that will do whatever his paycheck dictates him to do, even though he secretly loves crypto. He doesn't say that kind of stuff about Algorand, about how 3/4 of cryptos are non-security. You won't say that unless you love crypto or own crypto for yourself. You're going to be involved. And that was some early days, comparatively to now. So to teach that stuff and to make those statements publicly, he owned crypto, and yet now he's going after the heads of these crypto companies. And Binance, I'm not one to always say, Binance is safe or whatever. They're still centralized exchange. But for what they're doing for the crypto industry, it is, at least on the surface, looks good. But I think, he had his heart broken. The little snake in the grass tried to date the hot girl, tried to shoot for the moon. And we should be aware that this is really not a war between two ex-lovers. This is a war for our financial freedom. This is a war for who gets to dictate the rules of crypto? And obviously they get to do it. But where does innovation come from here? Where does the next steps for the future financial system, where does it go from there? Is it going CBDCs? Is it going centralized exchanges? Or is it going to the people? We don't know. But the hot girl broke his heart, and that's the story, and that just stills my pickle.
Well, we do want these executives of these exchanges to, get in bed with regulators, but we just meant figuratively, not literally there. Dusty BC, I'm starting to get a lot of vibes that are similar to XRP. There's a lot of motions and counter motions and bombshells, and then, hidden meetings and secret government officials have maybe friendly crypto attitudes years ago, then they're changing tune. Is comparison or a comparison with the XRP SEC case, is that a fair assessment there, or is this maybe nothing like that at all?
No, I wouldn't say it's comparable in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, it's a completely different complaint. What I would say is that the people involved in the Ripple case did warn about this for a long time. They did say Gary Gensler is a pretty hungry man, so to speak. He's coming for everything with regards to crypto. So the people have been warned, and many people took it serious. And right now, we're sitting on those I guess the troubles taking action quick enough. In the same field, I personally think that the SEC must have seen something. I mean, the Ripple case is pretty far towards the quote unquote end. And it's interesting to me that now they chose to go for so many lawsuits in a row, right? Binance and then the day after Coinbase. Why so much pressure on them all at once? And like Cowboy just said, can't say that Binance is always or in every way, shape, or form good. And the same thing you can't say for Ripple, the same thing you can't say for Coinbase. But like Coinbase said, where exactly then do you properly register? And like you said a little bit earlier, so Gary Gensler wanted to work, or at least wanted to advise Binance. He apparently gave some guidance at least, and now he's coming back afterwards to backtrack. I personally think, there is some higher powers here at play. I don't think this is a matter of, hey, let's do what's good for crypto, for the people to protect. No, I don't buy all that. I don't think he's trying to protect crypto. I don't think he's trying to protect people, so to speak. I think it's something bigger. And I guess the same thing applies for the Ripple case. I personally think it was something more than what it seems. Otherwise, they would have probably gone after Ethereum earlier as well. But just my theory.
All right. Well, you're bringing up a good point there. And Lifer, I want to touch on this. He's bringing up the point they're maybe stretching themselves too thin, like butter over too much bread. Always have to do the Baggins reference there. But they have maybe too many lawsuits. There's initial reports that the Coinbase legal fees and the Binance legal fees could easily outdwarf what XRP has spent. XRP has reportedly spent $200 million. Does the SEC have enough scope and breadth and depth in their ranks to simultaneously attack all these exchanges and all these protocols? Or is this going to be maybe their weak point as they're just spreading themselves across too many courtrooms?
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the question. Shout out to the Bit Squad. Shout out to everyone out there. At the end of the day, I remember when this first started, one of my friends is like very wealthy dude, probably worth like $500 million. And I was asking him about this and I was like, we're going to win this case. And he goes, the government can just keep going. Like they can just do it again and do it again. And he's like, and he got me to say, hey, don't count your chickens before they hatch here. At the same time, Brad Garlinghouse has been openly foreshadowing the idea that Ripple is going to win the case. Again, we'll see it when it happens, but that's something that we're starting to kind of get abreast of. Another thing that I'm hearing is I heard this news. Remember back in February or something like this? I remember this news coming out that Gary did try to work for Binance. I guess why it's bigger news now is because it's actually being mentioned as a way to kind of recuse the case, right, to get him out of there. They're going to try to find their way to circumvent this. We already know what he's done in the past and what he got away with. They're still dealing with some of that stuff that I won't even mention, but it has something to do with the dossier and stuff like that. And they even mentioned that, I remember, when the House committee was questioning him, Byron Donalds went at him a little bit there. So we already know what he's capable of. We know where he's going. It seems like he's on a warpath. At this point, it's just what gets me and gets my goat so much. And I remember I interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy in my Bitcoin Miami. And what he's saying is why we don't trust the government anymore, right? And this is the reason is because we elect people to represent us. And then, like someone gets into office and then they appoint people that we never elected. You know what I mean? Like no one elected Gary Gensler. Like he's been appointed. Now he's making decisions. And like the House said to him too, is like, we make the law. Like we're supposed to vote in the representative. The representative is supposed to go to Congress and then they're supposed to represent the people. Somehow the people don't have a voice anymore. It seems like we're being told what's going to happen. That's it. You're going to deal with it. And it is what it is. But, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. My favorite Bob Marley quote there. And so as he continues to do this, they could almost say they try to go against this as national security. I would go the other way and say, when they don't let cryptocurrency innovate, it's a threat versus national security. And I'll tell you why. Because right now, say you go to use your credit card and you go somewhere, you give someone your actual information. One time I was charged twice at a restaurant. Now, it didn't happen all the time, but I was charged twice. I saw the same thing that I bought. Like, they charged me for the meal twice. Why? Because they had access to my actual credit card. Even the 3 numbers in the back when you hand them to the person. If there was a kind of a crazy, waiter or someone that was going through some hard times, they can slip into the bathroom, take your credit card number, flip it, and maybe you'll be able to use your credit card. In blockchain, you send the money to the recipient. No one gets into you and takes from you. You send out. It's a safer way to transact. It would be safer for everyone if crypto became more prevalent. So I believe it's against national security for us not to elevate and progress into cryptocurrency. So I think he's doing a horrible disservice to us, and China's going to take advantage. Russia's going to take advantage. All these other countries are going to take advantage of our ability, our inability to move forward. And it looks like it's due to some greed, some legacy grasp that doesn't want to let us progress, And I pray every day that he's gone, man, and we get rid of that guy. Like, that's one of my memes from this.
Crypto Lifer wants to charge Gensler with sedition. All right. And one extra point there for the Bob Marley quote. My favorite Bob Marley quote was always been shot. All right. That was a bad dark joke. All right. Interpret crypto. There's several meetings here. He's meeting with key executives. In fact, Binance legal team, they stated that CZ was going to be given a sneak peek of Gensler's planned testimony about Facebook's Libra coin and their wallet offering. So a lot of information being exchanged. Went as far as Gary Gensler leaving Massachusetts, flying all the way to Japan, having lunch with CZ. Seemingly serious talks here. Why do you think they ultimately passed him over for any kind of advisorship?
Well, I think we can all see the serious problems with how Gary Gensler decides what he's going to do. As somebody said earlier, it does seem to depend on his paycheck. It seems to depend on some higher powers. He does seem to contradict himself over the years, over and over again. And I think the best thing that we could see here is like that draft bill that we saw earlier this year, where we removed the chairman and have a board of people at the top of the SEC that help make these decisions. And even at the start of this week, we saw a really good draft bill as well. We had a draft bill on the weekend, which was discussing how we can separate commodities and securities and have the CFTC regulate the commodities and have the SEC regulate the securities. That would just make things so much simpler. And I know we've been begging out for this for ages. Coinbase have really been pushing for this. It's just something we have not yet seen. And I know this is going to take a while, but this week has shown us how we need to continue pushing forward. And I am suddenly a huge fan of Brian Armstrong, because he has been doing cryptocurrency a massive favor within the last couple of months, trying to push for clarity on regulation. But until then, we are going to have to deal with Gary Gensler stopping the cryptocurrency industry from growing, or even he's not actually stopping it from growing, but he's trying his best to. And I think he's going to continue to do so. And I think this could go on for quite a few years now. I mean, Binance and Coinbase, I don't think they'll be the last.
All right. I like to have my own theory about why they passed over Gensler. I like to think, during that lunch, maybe like a long tongue came out and like ate a fly or something. That's just my 2 cents there. We did have Stick with a comment. Sheesh. That is one dark room. Maybe she paints it with Vanta black. Hey, my room, it's just all red. Why all the red candles everywhere? All right, let's move on here. A 40K NFT. That's right. We're talking about a $40,000 NFT, $41,000 technically. This is from Louis Vuitton. I might try to pull up their Twitter here real quick. I don't know if we can share my screen, but this is has like just a little quick video. I'm just going to kind of fast forward. I think it's about a few seconds in. You'll see kind of what the boxes maybe are going to look like. Of course, it's just digital ad here. We don't know how serious it's going to get. But wait. Wait. That's the moment we're going to dive inside of the box. Are you sitting down? Hold on. Buckle up. Ooh, what's inside? Nanobots and keys and the Aetherverse and the Metaverse and maybe the Matrix. It's all in there. But 2 years after their first drop, they're now releasing this. They're called Treasure Trunks. Again, they're going to be $41,000. Waitlist goes live today. You can purchase them on the 16th. But key factor here, these are soul-bound NFTs, meaning once it goes into a wallet, it can't be sold. This is once you buy it, it is yours. You're committing to $41,000. After purchase, you get a physical counterpart of your trunk, along with some limited edition items, events, and keys there. Well, Crypto Lifer, I'm going to lead with you. All right. For those I'm not in this market. I assume maybe you're not in this market. Maybe next bull run, you get one for your wife. But for those in the market for a $40,000 trunk, is having an NFT attached going to make it more or less attractive?
I think it's a good move by the brand, because the brand's already established this, desire for, basically scarcity. A lot of times they say they have less of one product to create a line outside. I was actually just watching a documentary about it last night, how they've created this, even if they had more of them, they would only put one in the store. When they even have them available, they have to put you on a wait list to get them. They've used that idea to create a high fashionable brand that people envy. It's also a flex, right? So we know the people that buy, they like to flex. Like, I made a few $1,000,000, so I'll go buy a $40,000 piece of luggage just so when you see me in the airport, you know that I have that money. You know what I mean? So it's just going to carry over into flexing digitally, right? Everyone's going to have a digital identity, Web3. So people are going to want to attach themselves to things that they already had in the material world, because that's not going to exist anymore, right? Just like Klaus Schwab, he wants us to live in the metaverse, right? So that's kind of what I believe they're also trying to create a metaverse for, to kind of lock people into an arterial reality that, so people aren't paying attention to actual reality, right? They can get away with more of the shenanigans they've been playing. So I think it's a good move on their part for their brand. What I did read was someone said you could basically, if you do get it, is soul bound, but you could put it in what's called an ERC, and don't quote me on the exact numbers, but it's like 7441 or an 8441 wallet. And you'd actually be able to keep it in that wallet, and you could sell the whole wallet, apparently.
Yeah.
So there's one way to actually get it, but that's like, you got to kind of know what you're doing, and there's a little loophole there. But yeah, I mean, soul bound, you're stuck with it. It's basically a huge flex. To me, not being able to resell it though, you never know, because over time things change. And, I think I think the soulbound thing may hurt it a little bit, but I do think a high valued NFT for Louis Vuitton is a really good move for them. So they're just
and one thing on like selling a wallet, you spin up a new wallet, you got your seed phrase, you sell the whole wallet, and you're like, yeah, I didn't write down the seed phrase anywhere else. I promise. Trust me, bro. I didn't take a picture of this. You just got to trust me.
Immutable seed phrase idea where, like, I get you right. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't have access.
Trust
to
me.
that
Trust me, bro. Trust me. All right. Well, Cowboys of Crypto. I want to ask you about other luxury, brands. Is this going to be a template that is maybe copied in the future? Are we going to see Bugattis, come with an NFT attached? Is a Rolex? If I buy a new Rolex, is it going to have an NFT I could wear in a metaverse?
Yeah, look, if I was a fashion model wearing pants so tight I could see her religion, and she tells me to invest in a crypto NFT for 41K, and I got it to spare, I'm buying it. I don't care. And the reason why is for exclusivity. Okay, this is not for utility. This is for exclusivity, and that's what I think big luxury brands are going to do. So yes, they're all going to do this. Every single one of those guys are going to do this. NFTs are the future. By the way, guys, hit the like button for this live stream. I'm really enjoying this conversation. But for me, I'm going to Chinatown. I'm getting me a bootleg copy of it, and I'm gifting it to people. I'm keeping it for myself. NFTs are the future. In an age where access is so prevalent, right? Access digital. AI's talking to me. I'm talking to team members of Gary V or whoever. Exclusivity will be king. Everyone will offer exclusive club access because it's rare, and it's scarcity, right? It goes back to the whole scarcity aspect that we love in crypto. Every concert will offer an NFT aspect to their ticketing. Every sporting event, every game, live sporting event or game will allow you to flex with this NFT. Education, I think, can move into this area of soulbound, giving the degrees and certifications, no more forgeries. If I was a fashion giant, and I would offer an NFT. I'm offering exclusive access to designers, maybe runway shows, maybe certain returns on merchandise moved. But more importantly, I would offer the ability to show off the NFT. Okay, that is the utility for something to be exclusive, for you to stand apart. The fact is that innovation hasn't truly happened yet. Okay, we don't have the everyday use for it. We don't have the mass adoption for it, but we're all looking for it. We have the building blocks for it. And I think it's going to come in the future. It's just not here yet. And I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. A lot of people have tried to work out what mass adoption looks like with NFTs. And, maybe you got like you got some melting, ape, and it gives you access to a party. Maybe that's something that's for utility. I don't know, but I do know this. Everyone wants to be exclusive. Everyone wants to stand out, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, it seems like if I had to say, I would say Reddit has probably done the best job so far. A couple of chats, one from Crypto Billy, with the colored name there. Better have 4 wheels, a motor, and a steering wheel for $40,000. First question, what's the horsepower? A lot of passes, many passes here. Looks like most people are going to be skipping this one. And then someone had a comment about Cowboy I wanted to share. Cowboy for Crypto has cowboy boots made out of real cowboys there. So be careful, folks. All right, Dusty BC, this is more of a fun question, but you are familiar with Richard Hart, correct?
A little bit. The guy behind Hex.
You wake up as Richard Hart, probably the key person this is made for. Would you then go buy one of these $41,000 NFTs? The person it's made for, do you think even they want this?
Yeah, probably. He's probably bought a couple, right? That makes sense. Honestly, I think this is made for people that either made a lot of money just recently or are flexers, or I saw Cowboy just talk about the exclusivity aspect. Man, I mean, I know Martini guy. We'll probably hear more about that in just a second, but I think he bought the Dolce & Gabbana NFT a while back for how much? 100K or something? Now, none of the employees got that NFT. And with Louis Vuitton, I'm not sure what previous NFT they launched, but probably nobody knows about it. Probably nobody's going to ever care. So it's like, oh, you just spent $41,000. You got your bag. You'll probably get the bag in about a year, 2 years from now. Who knows, right? You might get yourself some clothes another year from now. It's probably going to be a normal Louis Vuitton shirt with a little different design. So people will think, oh, that was $750 while you paid $41,000 for your whole little bundle. Meaning you're just going to basically have overpriced stuff that probably nobody in the real world will recognize. So if they play it out smart, yeah, then if they make a club behind it, wow, cool. That's a pretty cool idea. I mean, I would definitely think that the $41,000 is not that much money to be in a club with the people that can all afford it, so to speak, right? I mean, a club for the Louis Vuitton type of people, that's not a bad idea, I think. But that would be too little. I think they would probably launch a way more expensive collection for an exclusive elite club. This is more a, hey, buy this because then we can make money. And Richard Hart, probably he's got like 3 whitelists already. It's going to be like in the back of his video, it's going to be like 3 bags sitting right there. And then like 3 more screens on top and like the NFT of the bag as well. Some people are going to be like that. And that's, I guess, with a lot of these high fashion NFT brands or high fashion brands launching NFTs, it's for money. Because if you go into the store, everybody would be like, what's an NFT? So they probably won't know you ever spend $100,000 on whatever collection. If you go to any event from Louis Vuitton, probably the people will be like, what are you talking about? Or something. And it's only once they're really inside are like, we're going to push this. We're going to go for it. That it's nice, especially if you can't resell it. Like, for example, with Nike or Nike, whatever you Americans call it. They at least make sure you can transfer to have communities around the pieces, or they bought an art studios and then they're going to work. I don't think this is a smart investment.
And for those who don't know, and for those who don't know the reference, I actually pulled up a little video here. This is Richard Hart rating the Louis Vuitton store. This is his avatar, perhaps. So you might have one on each hand, and then he's going to be carrying his digital trunk as well there. So that's where we're getting the reference. So you want more tangible benefits, not just carrying around luggage in Sandbox. I think that's a fair point. Interpret crypto. I want to zoom out a little bit. Let's move forward a few years. In the long run here, will this end up being just an awesome idea, lightning bolt moment, or is this going to ultimately turn out to be a flop?
I am biased in this because I am not a fan of NFTs at all. I do think this is going to be a flop. I think the fact that this is soul bound really isn't a major factor in this, because I don't think many people would be able to sell these NFTs for a profit anyway, or even at all.
Good point.
I mean, all of the other brands, they could bring out something similar. I think they will all be a flop. I don't think these NFTs are going to bring much. Maybe in the future, when we're actually living in this metaverse and doing day-to-day tasks more online and actually taking advantage of NFTs in a bigger way than we do right now, maybe these brands can bring something out. But even like big brands in the NFT world, all of the NFTs are pointless right now. I just don't see the benefit of them at all. And with big brands trying to get into the space, they're not going to do any better than the original NFT brands that are trying to perform well. I think the first NFTs from Louis Vuitton were part of a game. I think they were play to earn. And I also think that's a flop as well. Any games that are bringing in NFTs, I don't think they're going to perform well. People that are in the traditional gaming system trying to make a game get wide adoption are unsuccessful. So getting into a niche in the gaming industry just makes that 10 times harder. I think anything to do with NFTs is honestly just a waste of investment. I am very much against NFTs.
You bring up a really good point with the soulbound. They wouldn't actually have the ability to sell it. That just makes me think it would be a plummeting price, and then that would just be a really, really bad look on a marketplace. So if you remove that ability to sell, well, then you don't see any plummeting price, and you don't have any headline. It's down 90%. We do have a dropping a bombshell here. Bob Marley, I think you better Google who actually said it first. Thanks for keeping us honest here with our quotations here. I think he pulled it off a popsicle stick. He don't know what he saw. All right, let's talk about Gen Z and crypto, though. We have some alarming stats. Type in, what are you at home? Are you Gen Z? Are you Gen X? Are you a millennial? Maybe you're a baby boomer. Maybe you're America's greatest generation. We don't know what you are. Let us know in the chat. We're just interested to see the breakdown here. But a new survey just dropped where they asked thousands of people about their investments. We have a little bit of a breakdown here with the graphic. This is from FINRA and CFA Institute here. You see the breakdown, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X. Well, guess who's heavy into crypto? That is right, Gen Z. By far their most attractive investment. Over half have invested in crypto. You compare that to ETFs or mutual funds, then you're looking at roughly, a quarter, 30%. Gen Z, born in the late 90s into the 21st century, meaning its oldest members are going to be around in their mid-20s. They also looked at individual stocks. Now, comparison, mutual funds, most common amongst Gen X investors. These are people born between 65 and 80. And then you have myself. I am a millennial. We don't know what we want. We're just all over the place. But I'm surprised to see Gen Z such a big fan of crypto in general. And let's see. I believe Interpret. You're probably a good chance you were going to be the youngest one here. So let me ask you. The number one holding out of Gen Z, we have is crypto there. What do you think of that? Does that surprise you? And in the long run, I'm asking you a long run question here. Is that going to prove to be too risky? Will they regret these choices 10 years from now?
I see why cryptocurrency is heavily adopted by my sort of age group. I mean, TikTok and social media is such a big push up for cryptocurrency. So many people in their 20s, even in like the 16, 17-year-old age bracket, are all waiting to get involved in investing at the moment. And I think a lot of people are looking, instead of getting into the 9 to 5, trying to get into creating their own businesses, looking at investing. And the information is so much easier to get now on TikTok and social media. And the trading platforms are there for people to trade as soon as they turn 18. You can get onto Robinhood, you can get onto cryptocurrency exchanges and try all of these things. So that's why we're seeing that adoption. Also, younger people are more naive and can see these people that make thousands on NFTs, on meme coins, and come into crypto to make money quickly because that is what it is popularly known for. So that is what our age group getting into the space. However, the amount of knowledge these people have, it differs greatly. Some people are just in it for the money, and some people are doing their research online to find a little bit more information. I can't remember what the second part of the question was.
Well, is it going to be too risky 10 years? Or will they regret their choices today? Or will this just prove to be, haha, I'm smarter than you, Dad. Now I own your house. Get out.
I think it's very few and far between that will make a huge amount of money from this industry. And that is sad to say. Obviously, it would be amazing if we could all make lots of money. And I also think a massive factor in those that will do well is usually the ones that have had a poor time. So, for example, myself, I made quite a lot of money. I was really happy with myself. And then all of a sudden I lost it all and I had to start again. And you hear that story over and over again of the people that are successful in this space. So it's those that have the determination to carry on through that. And I know a lot of people say that in crypto, but it's whether people in this age bracket then have that commitment to continue. And that filters out a lot of people within the cryptocurrency space.
Well, I'm glad you brought up losing a lot. I think it's fair to say probably a high percentage, if not most, probably have a lower net worth than they did late 21, at least those heavily invested in crypto. Well, Dusty, I want to ask you about the next time everyone's going to lose their money. Out of Gen Z, millennials, and Gen X, when we have that new wave, YOLO in at the top, right at the very top, who is going to YOLO in the hardest of those three groups? Who's going to feel the most pain?
What is the question?
Who's jumping in the latest? So obviously the smarter investors are getting now, but who's going to see Bitcoin hit, I don't know, 90K, 100K, and just say, today is the day I buy. Of those three groups, who's going to be fumbling the bag the hardest?
Anybody above like 65, I think, like 90-year-olds or whatever. I honestly think the older you are, the more likely you are to be late to the party. But we're going to see it pretty quickly, right? You're going to see it on TV. You're going to see it everywhere. And all of a sudden, at the start, people are still skeptical. And I have a little side note. I also have an AI, like a little AI nut. And the amount of times, if I ever post a crypto video, that people, even if they're 17 years old, whatever, still say I'm a big con artist for talking about crypto is actually relatively high, which makes me interested in knowing whether or not those numbers that you just showed are accurate. I think it's way lower, the amount of people that are actually investing in crypto, right? I mean, 55% of whatever, however old you are, it cannot be that high. It makes no sense. Maybe out of the people that actively, and with another little layer, then the percentage is 55 then in crypto, okay? But so who's going to be latest? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who's latest. It matters most who's first. And it's mostly, I think, younger ones. Younger, I don't know what generation it fits in. But I think these are people that have a better risk profile and not as much of a fear of losing money. I always have the philosophy of I'd rather spend some money trying to make a freaking ton, so to speak. So if I have $1,000, I'd rather spend it because I'll earn more money. I'll earn more $1,000, so to speak, but try to use it to make $1 million instead of like just having $1,000 place, if you know what I mean. I'm not explaining it in the best way, but this is some like risk positive mindset, basically, instead of being risk averse, like just risk it, wing it, go for it. And a lot of the, I guess, investors that I speak to whenever I'm on the plane, for example, very often there are 70-year-olds next to me, especially if I fly from America. I always have the same type of conversation if they're above 70, which is, I like Warren Buffett's strategy. Do you have a home already? And it's always a funny conversation. So I personally think the older they are, the later they're going to join the.
All right. Well, I might be able to give you a little saying here, kind of related to that. If you spend all your time pitching pennies, you're not making nickels. And that kind of sums that up. You might spend too much time trying to, oh, I got a coupon, I got to do this, I got to do this myself. And then, meanwhile, you could be maybe learning a new skill or, picking up a second job there. All right, crypto lifer. I want to, get you, this is your little chance to send out a message right here. The number one holding by Gen X is mutual funds. What would you say to someone that maybe has 100% of their portfolio in mutual funds? What would you say to them to convince them to maybe buy a little Bitcoin?
Well, I would say, some of the biggest mutual funds are connected to pensions, right? People, I don't know, you work your whole life for one single, number one, you should diversify. Number one, like anyone who's a billionaire, go research a billionaire. All right. And you'll find out they usually have 7 streams of income, which means they didn't put all their eggs in one basket. So if basically, if you want to have a wealthy life and live wealthy and have more, I would look at the people that did it the best. Right. And so you look at what happened before you and you try to replicate the best you can. Putting all your money in a mutual fund. What if something happens? What if they're connected to a bank and that bank becomes insolvent? You know what I mean? You just because you think it's been working for the last few hundred years doesn't mean it's guaranteed. For instance, I just got, someone told me you should get life insurance. So I sat with the life insurance lady and she tried to pitch me term against, actually one that creates cash value. And she's like, well, this turns into a cash value fund. And then the cash value gets put in mutual funds. And that's Mass Mutual. It's been around 100 years. It's solid. And I looked at her and I said, I don't know. I said, I still think this is a scam. Like I said to her, I still purchased some term, I guess. But at the same time, I'm just not a fan. For instance, I love Bitcoin, but do I own 100% of all my money in Bitcoin? No. I like real estate. And again, as what someone said about the quote for Bob Marley, yeah, Abraham Lincoln was the first person to say it, but he didn't say it the way Bob Marley said it. Bob Marley said it in his own way. Some people, sometimes. So it's actually Bob Marley did say what I said, and then Abraham Lincoln had a longer version. So you kind of have to, And but the other point behind that is, you can't just go all in. And also, that's the way things have been done for the last 100 years. Get into a mutual fund and just sit there. It's also lazy, man. Lazy people don't make the most money. You know what I mean? People that just decide to use one thing. I could go into a financial advisor and I could hand him $100,000, or I could sit here and build an AI portfolio on my own, which would take way more time, a little more stress, but a lot more on my body, researching, staying up late at night, watching, staring at the screens. But at the same time, I might be able to 50 to 100x. Well, that mutual fund will probably get me 5% a year if you're lucky, something like that. So I'm about people who went to the new world. Mutual fund is for the people that stayed in England and hung out, I'm about the people that jumped on the ship and wanted to go find out what's across the Atlantic. I'm trying to swing from the rafters, baby. Let's go all the way. You know what I mean?
All right.
To me, it's that's just kind of a lazy, old legacy way of thinking. There's just so much more out there, and there's so many more options too. Stay in mutual funds when the future is changing. Like far as NFTs go, I think NFTs are going to be big because humans have always been collectors, hunter gatherers. Like we come from collection. Humans love to collect things, and artists like to sell their art. As this changes, artists, what do you think? An artist has to paint 15 different things and be able to have to sit outside at a street fair or have like an art show to sell all their art. No, an artist can now create 5,000 pieces of art and be able to actually get their name out there. It helps the actual art and the whole system. So I think NFTs are big. I think the whole space is going to grow. BRC20, inscribing, and everything. There's just so much more out there than just sticking your head in mutual funds. You know, you're going to miss out on the future. And I want to be a part of that. That's exciting to me.
I would say at least 1, 2, 3% into Bitcoin if you do have a lot of money into mutual funds. JPAR, mutual funds, they aren't connected to a bank. LOL. Well, they're technically not a bank. It is a financial institution. Financial institutions are the one who have to be able to sell these mutual funds. So there's going to be some sort of centralized entity making a little cut. I would recommend
they're connected to the centralized legacy system.
Yeah, exactly. I would recommend Vanguard if you want to reduce middlemen taking fees there. But I'm not trying to push mutual funds or anything. Use my E-Trade link. All right, Cowboys of Crypto. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here. We have the riskiest class is the youngest class. And I'm thinking back, that probably means they didn't experience any pain from the 08-09 financial crisis. Does everybody need their own depression, their own recession to be able to be less risk averse? Are we unable to learn lessons from our elders?
Yeah, I think the best lessons learned are lessons in pain. I think lessons learned through emotion create habits, and those are the real lessons to learn. I think the lesson is repeated until the lesson is learned. The degree to which financial complexity is, 20 years ago to now, I think might be more complex. But there's also, I think, the financial literacy of everybody, I think, is increasing. There's more access to education, like really good education on YouTube. More people are aware. I think kids are learning from their parents, I think, at least if they're smart. But I also think that crypto is new, globalization is new, the world is wealthier. There's more financial advice out there. And so they have to shift through good and bad news. And so I think someone mentioned that there's a lot of influencers out there giving really poor advice and really good advice. And maybe it's different for each situation. And what I think is happening is that everyone is just, or these Gen Z is just more risk averse. And so I took the time to list out 7 reasons why I think, quick reasons why I think Gen Z is more willing to invest into crypto. And let me know if you agree with any of these ones. Number 1 would be age. They're more likely to take risks. They're younger, right? And I don't think they realize that it's a blood sport. It's competition. So if you're taking profit, you're actually, taking that from someone else. 2, promotions. Again, this is like social media. Like mutual funds aren't sexy, right? Mutual funds aren't being talked about by their favorite influencers. 3, ease, right? People can download and then they could invest, and it's very easy. 4, it's a new industry to work in. It's very sexy. So maybe they didn't invest in crypto, but maybe they have a job in crypto. Maybe they're designing like work that pays them in crypto across the ocean, and they're like some, freelancer. That's totally possible. I use those freelancers also. Number 5, it's just more expensive around, I don't think the wages increased at the rate of which everything increased, the cost of everything. Number 6, it's fun, right? It's just fun. Who wouldn't want to buy ordinals and make money? I want to say I minted a child in a ski mask and now I'm rich. I got a melted monkey and now I'm rich. That's what I want to say. I want to be able to roll around in my cowskin Lambo, drink a scotch in Dubai, listen to Taylor Swift in box seats, and say it was all because of crypto. And number 7 is immediate gratification. You can make quick returns. And I think that's why they invest in these. I invest in these coins that promised me to arrive safely on the moon. And yeah, I'm going to YOLO into this stuff because it's fast and it's easy money. I made a lot of money in the last bull run, and I'm going to go YOLO in faster than a one-legged man in a butt king competition. You can butter my butt and call me Biscuit, but the lesson is repeated until the lesson is learned.
All right, great stuff there. And hey, anyone at home, you have Taylor Swift box seats? Maybe send them out a message. She might want to join you. But that is all we have time for. And Cowboys of Crypto gave 7 reasons why he should have 26 points, and he ended up taking it home. So Cowboys of Crypto, feel free. Leave us with some parting thoughts. Leave us with some cowboy wisdom.
Listen, the only thing I could say here is never lie, cheat, steal, or drink. But if you must lie, lie in the arms of the one you love. If you must steal, steal away from bad company. If you must cheat, cheat death. And if you must drink, drink in the moments that take your breath away.
All right. Felt like I was in a dive bar for a second, but in a good way. All right, that is all we have time for. Hit that like button, folks. Make sure you check out everyone's channel. Check out their socials. We have the links in the description below, so please check it out. Whew. That's all we got. Make sure you shoot at that like button. And we'll see you tomorrow. Great stuff. 1 point for Dusty.